Hey guys, what's up? This is my brother's house, don't mind it. And today I want to talk about sort of like a follow-up to the last Sunday video that I made, which was called Are YouTubers Raising Video Game Prices? And today, well, I want to discuss precisely that, but in concrete, the prices of the video games. And the question is it worth it nowadays collecting retro games, or more specifically, retro RPGs? Why retro RPGs? We're gonna focus on RPGs for two reasons. Why? First, because this is an RPG-oriented channel, obviously. And second, because I don't know why, it's always RPGs that are usually more expensive than anything else. Sure, there's a huge variety of genres when it comes to expensive games nowadays, but man, I've seen like the RPGs, JRPGs most likely, to go up in price every single year. The same ones over and over again, like Suikoden 2 or Valkyrie Profile for the PlayStation 1. And every damn year it's more expensive. So what's going on? We already talked about that last week. If you haven't watched that video, I'm gonna leave it at the end so you can go watch it and discuss it. So the question is it worth collecting retro RPGs nowadays? What is a retro RPG? I think retro could be considered from the PS2 era and below, but we're gonna talk about the PS1, Dreamcast era and below, because a lot of RPGs, a lot of JRPGs for the PlayStation 2, most of those haven't even reached the $100 range, so it's kind of pointless. But PS1 or Dreamcast RPGs and below, Super Nintendo, especially Super Nintendo, the prices are just insane, man. Insane. Like literally, I don't know for how much goes a Chrono Trigger for the Super Nintendo complete in box nowadays. I have no idea, but the Soul cartridge, it's like $100 and something, $150 for a good condition copy of the cartridge of Chrono Trigger. $150, no less. So, well, it all depends. The answer to this question, I think it depends mostly on where do you live. If it's a rich country or a poor country, I don't know. But the thing is that no matter where you live, the one thing that we all have in common is that we often cannot afford, or we don't want to afford, those kinds of games. Like me, for example, my biggest example will be Suikoden 2. I've been wanting to get my hands on that game for so long, and I've never had the chance to get it. And each year, like I said at the beginning, it's more and more expensive. Like, it's insane. So my answer, you probably have a different answer. My answer to this question is no. Yeah, it may be surprising, but I don't know. Maybe if I was rich, I would be saying something entirely different. But is it worth collecting retro RPGs nowadays? In my case, nah, it isn't, because I don't want to pay $150 for a cartridge of Chrono Trigger, or I think Final Fantasy 3. It's about $100, maybe less, I believe, 90, 80 bucks, $100 range. And to me, that's like, I don't know. I'm from Mexico. For those who don't know, I am from Mexico, and Mexico is not exactly a poor country, but it's nowhere near being a rich country, at least not most of its population. And most of us, the working class, we can't just afford that. You know, I can't just grab $200 or more and order through eBay or Mercado Libre or anywhere else my physical original copy of Suikoden 2 so I can have it in my collection. You know, I have bills to pay, I have a lot of expenses in my life, and I want to collect other RPGs. So with $200, I can get tons of them. I can get, like, I don't know, 4, 5, maybe 6, maybe 10 of those cheaper RPGs or cheaper games of any other genre. So I am a collector, and if you're a hardcore collector, I don't know what you think. If you are that kind of person, let me know in the comment section below what do you think about this. If you're the kind of people who actually can afford those games, that's cool. Nobody's saying it's wrong. This isn't about right or wrong. This is about being worth collecting those kinds of games from a working class perspective, or maybe a low class perspective, a poor people perspective. You know, if you can afford those games, that's good. That's good. But some of us can't, or just won't. Maybe we do have the money, but we think this way, like, in this month I only have like $100 to buy video games, maybe $50 to buy video games. What am I going to do? Should I get these 5 great games that I've been looking for the past few months, or should I get a copy of the Soul cartridge of Final Fantasy III? You know, it's all about putting things on balance, on a big damn balance, and weight them and see what's most important to you. I don't know, let's take another example. Chrono Cross is my favorite RPG of all time. I got it when it was like $20, I believe. That was like, damn, that was like 4 or 5 years ago, I believe. And it's in perfect condition. Not mint condition, okay, but it's like very, very good condition. And I got it for 20 bucks, first edition. Nowadays, I think the greatest hits edition goes for like 15 bucks or less. But the first edition, nowadays, I think it goes for around $25 or $30, I believe, maybe more. But let's say that, since Chrono Trigger is my favorite RPG of all time, let's say I don't have it. And let's say that game costs $200. And it's a game that is so important to me that I just love it with a passion. And maybe I'm gonna say, I want the game, it's $200, but I want the game. So what am I gonna do? If I have the possibility, I'm gonna save my money and work my ass off, I don't know, until I finally get my copy of Chrono Cross. And that's pretty much the answer to this question. Maybe it is worth collecting, but only those games that you really, really want and that you know are rare and that you know are for a fact expensive and probably are never going down on price. So if, for example, Chrono Trigger, I like Chrono Trigger, it's a great game, but I'm not a huge fan of that game, so I am never going to pay $150 for the Soul cartridge. Never. That's never gonna happen. Unless I get rich, like seriously rich. But if I don't, I'm not gonna get it. I'm not gonna get it. And this is the case not only for games like Chrono Trigger, but also for games like, I don't know, Super Metroid, Super Castlevania. Those games go for around 80 bucks or 70 bucks nowadays. And they're gonna keep going up and up each year, I'm pretty sure of that. What about Saturn games, Sega Saturn games? That's crazy, man, that's just crazy. Some of the RPGs for the Sega Saturn are insanely expensive, stupidly expensive. And I never owned a Saturn before. I have never owned a Sega Saturn before in my life. So I technically don't give a damn about it. Some of those games I know I can emulate them on my computer, so if I want to play those games, I can do it for free. I know it's piracy, but I am not going to pay $300 or $200, I don't know, on Panzer Dragoon Saga, or I don't know, any other RPG for the Sega Saturn. So that's the answer. In my opinion, unless you really, really, really want that game, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it is. I mean, if I can use those $80 or $100, like I said, for other games, maybe not that retro, or maybe retro but cheaper, I'm gonna get those first, especially if I want them more than this other game that is extremely rare and I'm not such a big fan. So It's a question that, as you see, it's not that easy to answer. But in my opinion, if you really don't want that game, or if you want it but you're not willing to pay outrageous prices for those games or for that particular game, I don't think it's worth it. So the answer to that question, is it worth it? Is it worth it to collect retro RPGs nowadays? No, in my opinion. I mean, no as in a gray area, not just plain black and white no and yes or no. Just no, but with a lot of buts. Okay, let's leave it at that. That's my opinion, and I'm very interested to know your opinion. Share in the comment section below what you think. Do you think it's worth it? Do you agree with me when I say that it's worth it only when you really want that game or that special edition from 20 years ago? Or if you're going for a complete copy of Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy 3 or Lufia 2 or whatever, complete in box, because those prices complete in box for the Super Nintendo are outrageously expensive as well, like $200 each. Super Mario RPG, for example, that's like $100 and something for a complete in box copy, and I've seen mint conditions of that copy of that game go for over $200. And that's a really special game for me. I am not the hardcore, the best fan out there of Super Mario RPG, but that's one of the very, very first RPGs that I played in my life. And I would like to have it complete in box, but $200 for that game, I think I'm going to settle for just the cartridge. But that's just me. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let us discuss this, what do you think, and all that. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time.